Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Hey! Hey! Hello, it's me, Ricky. We're not doing this. Hello, it's me, Ricky Lai from the Ricky the Lai channel, and this is a special video, different video. Usually I'm just rambling deadpan, reviewing albums behind a big screen full of blue squares, but today I'm wearing those blue squares, and I've decided to actually talk about my 10 favourite hiding songs. If you've never heard of a hiding song, fair enough, I only just learnt the concept last month. I first learnt about this concept from one of the Red Hand Files posts from Nick Cave. Nick Cave, legendary Australian singer-songwriter, the gothic god, the existential emperor. I'll stop there. Dude has some of the most beautiful and poetic responses to people that write in and ask him questions. Nick Cave described his 10 hiding songs, and he described his hiding songs as sort of a place of refuge for him over the years. Songs that he can pull up over himself like a child in bed with the covers when the blaze of the world just becomes too intense. I think that's a really poetic and classic Nick Cavian way to describe it. The essential pillars that hold up the structure of his artistic world. Woo! Songs that you can literally hide in, a place of comfort. So that's what a hiding song is. It's not a song that you listen to while you get a hiding. I personally thought this was an amazing concept, and I thought I'll share my 10 personal hiding songs. These aren't songs that I picked to look cool or whatever. They're literally songs that I listen to some nights. They're literally songs that I find as a really great place of comfort. Songs that understand. I guess that's a great way to put it. My first pick is a bit of an unusual one, but one that really resonates with me nonetheless. I said it was a weird pick, and I think one of those reasons is probably the audio quality. The lo-fi fuzz seems to crush the audio quality quite a lot, very muffled. But I think that's one of the things that makes it special. It's mysterious. It's almost like you discovered a lost cassette tape. Otis G Johnson is a gospel musician that recorded this using a Hammond organ, one that had a bit of a built-in rhythm on it, which is that drum rhythm that you hear kind of clicking on in the background. And over the course of the song, he's just making his praises really known. But he's also very much going on about the afterlife and death. And I think this is such a special song because when you think of gospel music, you think of choirs, you think of, a very uplifting, triumphant praise to the Lord, and you think of harmonies and all of that. But this is a very intimate, almost like a one-on-one conversation with the guy. You two are in the same room, this guy's playing you a song, and he's making his praises known. The instrumental itself is like a vessel, an open space for him to express himself. And to be really corny and broad about it, I think that's a beautiful thing about art. It's kind of like this free space of expression. Johnson isn't necessarily on beat. He even has like little off, clumsy notes. And I think that also adds to the beauty somehow. I think that makes it really humane. Like, I don't care. This is me, just being me, boy. My second pick is a very easy one, Talking Heads. It's amazing to me just how something so quaint can also feel like everything. It's hard to not hear that the funk groove and the little flute melody, you just want to do a little head bob. Oh my god! The song is so icy, it's pleasant, it's pretty, it's frosty. It sounds like sorbet. That didn't make sense. It's just a very cute, uplifting song. I listen to it some mornings if I just want to feel good. My third pick is actually not really I guess it's not really a song I was... All flowers in time, bends towards the sun. I know you say there's no one for you, but here's one. I guess it's not really a song we're supposed to know about. It's actually an unfinished demo of a duet between two voices that I've been listening to a lot. It's Jeff Buckley and Elizabeth Fraser of Cocteau Twins fame. So knowing that at one point in time they came together on a track and made probably what is now one of my favourite songs of all time, if not my favourite song of all time, is mind-blowing to me. I almost feel guilty for enjoying it because technically we're not supposed to have heard this, but loads of bands and songwriters have covered it. It's pretty much like in the Musical Hall of Fame at this point. Everything on this song works. I know it's demo quality, but just even the guitar strumming just butters my crumpet. The way their voices intensify and they harmonize and they crest, and it's like the song is bending or like smoothly approaching the next section of the song so naturally. I know the duet is by both of them, but like Liz Taylor steals the show. And of course she does. She's known for these like crazy trills and somersaults she does through the air with her voice. Like it's like she's soaring, and the way she sings, man. Like even the first line of the song. The first line. My eyes are Abacus. Oh my god, boy. And then like during the second half of the song where she goes,
it's okay to be angry,
but not to hurt me. The way she commands her voice to actually demonstrate being hurt and just dwindling downwards. Her voice breaks there, just kind of does this little flick, and then just kind of dwindles when she goes into the word me, and she kind of elongates it, and it's like... My next pick is Sufjan Stevens. I couldn't go this list without picking Sufjan. The first time I heard the album Illinois, man, that album is so special to me. It's still so special to me to this day. I was so obsessed. I wanted to hear more things like it. Weirdly enough, my favorite album by Sufjan now isn't anything like Illinois. Illinois was very orchestral, sort of like this grand tour of a city that means a lot to him. But Age of Arts embraces a lot of electronic instrumentation. My favorite song on the album, though, is probably the most intimate one of all.
It's been 4 hours now since I've wandered through your place.
It actually sounds like one of the breather moments that the album is so constantly begging for. An album that is constantly second-guessing itself. And encountering these moments where thoughts are just brick-walling in the mind and you can't find an escape from it. Futile Devices is my favourite Sufjan song. And I think what makes it a hiding song in particular, the feeling that everything is going to be okay, signalled by the piano. The way the piano comes into the track. You get 2 notes of the normal piano, and then the pluck of the piano string. That is like ASMR for me. Every time I hear that, bro, like oh. And I love how Sufjan on the second verse describes this back to you. The music is what speaks his affection better when his words can't. But I think what seals the deal for me is that lyric about being so afraid to say I love you that you just shut up and you end up regretting it.
And don't say I love you, but saying it out loud is hard, so I won't say it at all.
My next pick is The Moon by The Microphones. The song begins with acoustic guitars all layered on top of one another. It sounds messy, but it sounds like autumn leaves. And about a minute into the song, you get this wall of humming noise. You can barely hear Phil Elverum's voice under it, and it's like he's trying to make his voice known, but you can't hear it. And I think that's a really powerful way to describe how overwhelmed and you know, how isolated he feels. How there can be so much noise and action happening around you, but you can still feel so alone, you know, you can still feel so overwhelmed by all the thoughts just swirling in your head. Everything can feel like such a bustle. And the best part is the words that you can hear Elverum say, just very faintly, just words that you recognize and that help to build a picture, and you understand what he's getting at. You hear words like street, empty, steering, glowing, rock, the moon, of course. But if you read along with the lyrics, you would realize that the whole verse is an extremely detailed recount of a memory that Phil Elverum is so desperately trying to let go. We barely hear any of it, but one of the lines that we do hear is on the chorus, and he raises his voice just enough for us to hear it, and he says, I went back and felt alone there. What a song.
You've been acting awful tough lately, smoking a lot of cigarettes lately.
Okay, this one's a fun one. Last year, for some reason, I just had this urge to listen to Marina and the Diamonds again. I was very secretly into a lot of Marina's songs when I was like in intermediate school, when Prima Donna Girl was like the hit. But just early last year, I decided, you know what, I'm a return to that, and I'll listen to her debut album, The Family Jewel. And in terms of revisiting songs from my adolescence, like that is probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. I can still very distinctly remember being at the bus station and hearing I Am Not a Robot, and oh my god, it's kind of a funny song, but it's also a really reassuring one. Marina sings to you like a friend that's just trying to cheer you up out of your rut. And just the instrumentation on it, just like the piano and then the xylophones that twinkle and the violin melody that just unravels a little bit like a red carpet that's just leading you to a new beginning or something. I'm not gonna front. There's a moment on this song, about 2 minutes and 30 seconds into it, 2 minutes 32 seconds, and this moment is the reason that for like the rest of the day at that bus station, I was just looping. Basically, throughout the song, the mantra, "You are not a robot," it's kind of used as like to just reassure you that you're a human being, you're capable of emotion, you are special, you can show affection if you want, you deserve a place, you deserve to fit in, all of that. And the whole song's kind of playful and a little bit snarky. When the song actually reaches the bridge, that's like the turning point. The little epiphany finally convinces her that yes, she's found herself, man. And the part of the song that signals that, when she reaches that... I'm so into this. When she sings the title of the song, I Am Not a Robot, but she sings the word robot with so much more gusto. Like the melody she sings.
Guess what? I am not a robot.
It's like she's more convinced than ever. It's like she's found herself. Genuinely, one of my favourite moments in music ever. Listen, I have to move on before I start freaking out, but genuinely, I Am Not a Robot. Dude. What a song. I had to kind of pick an emo song for this one, for a song that you can really hide yourself into because it's so emotionally open and honest and screaming, of course. Screaming is a great way to expel your demons and your grievances. This song and the album it's on sounds like autumn, and specifically the idea of change and tearing everything down, getting ready for a new beginning. I won't lie, some days I don't take the bus home and I just walk the distance and I just listen to this album and just soak in the scope of the world. I do cry sometimes, but that's just something. I have to say, Christian Holden has some of the best lyrics I've ever heard on this album, and Among the Wildflowers just has incredible imagery. Spinning gears, keep catching your cracks, skipping teeth, keep calling you back, telling stories, pretending they're facts. You passed disease, presented a birth, held underwater, told to scream your self-worth. I've never heard anyone use the idea of a baptism in such a self-demeaning way, in such a way that draws back to the album's themes of depression and suicide and self-worth. And of course the chorus for me is the bit that just blows me away, and it honestly just gets me a little welled up every time I hear it.
Chewing wildflowers to numb the pain.
The way he yells, "You'll be fine," and it so intensely suggests that it's not you're saying you'll be fine and knowing that it'll be fine. It's more like saying you'll be fine, desperately hoping that at some point along the line, he'll be fine.
Bless the night and the darkness keep you well.
This is a song literally about death, but if you read between the lines, it's a lot more than just death. Everyone on this track is young and black and talking about their funerals, and I adore how compassionate and communal Noname's approach to topics such as abortion and, of course, death, hoping that your friends will get home safely, and exploitation, all of those things. I love how compassionate she is when she writes about them, but she doesn't ever ignore how serious and very traumatizing these topics are. Her music seems more like it's trying to find ways to cope with it, sparking a bit of solidarity with people that go through it. And it's a really poignant song considering its details when you get down to the topic, but it feels comforting. It's like it's inviting you along to their little group singing session.
Everything I ever loved, I lost in the magic. I claimed by the river, my body delivered. When I died, 27 rappers at my funeral. Moses wrote my name in gold and Kanye did the eulogy.
But each rapper's verses, Smino, Saba, and of course Noname, also beautiful in their own little unique flows, just the way they switch up flows on each of their verses. Noname imagines what her funeral will be like. There's this little gag about Kanye delivering the eulogy, and then describes the relief of being able to meet her son again in heaven. Saba is so used to being at the funeral home, it's like a home he used to live in.
Funeral home looking like a home that I used to live in. You wasn't supposed to go so soon, I took it for granted. Maybe we'll meet the next life, maybe another planet. Open my soul, but then it'll end with an open casket.
And dude, Smino's verse,
tippy toe on a tightrope, leaning on green, every go be a dice roll.
the way he flows, the way he sings a little bit, the tippy toe on the tightrope.
And I done went Figaro with the finger roll, lander on, split my head and start leaking songs in them words. Yeah, them words, they make a nigga live forever. Black with them birds, my heart's they lighter than the feather.
It takes my breath away, dude. My penultimate pick on this list is actually very recent. It's from this year. It's from one of my favorite albums of the year. It's the song Firesmoke by Tempest.
And the whole world is just ripples in the middle distance. I listen to her hips.
Tempest is a spoken word poet from the UK, and this is one of her new tracks that really allows her to express herself as a spoken word poet, just really speaking and making herself known. I legitimately get chills when she says the line, "Let me untangle the madness that knots you." It's about finding somebody to rely on, perhaps literally lie on, in this really overwhelming, bustling world. Literally the definition of a hiding song, and just like a breather moment.
Is this how it feels to feel certain? 'Cause for so many years my love's been a burden.
And of course, I decided to save a real shredder of a hiding song for last.
Well dressed but walking in the wrong direction.
Frances Quinlan is one of my favourite vocalists ever. I just think that she has a really unique way of delivering lyrics. She does these crazy vocal leaps sometimes.
Well dressed well.
But what characterises her the most is the way her voice cracks and squeaks and screeches. It brings a lot of vocal power into it. But Well Dressed is one of those songs, and from the Fiercest album, that actually kind of slow burns. The song sounds broken inside. The fact that the song literally begins with the line, "Well dressed but walking in the wrong direction." Part of me thinks it's about growing up in a small city, moving to the big city, and no matter what you've achieved there, when you come back, you can still come back feeling very empty inside. Just something so honest about self-esteem and anxiety, and how you can honestly relapse into just really stressful moods again. And what I love about the ending of this song is that it genuinely sounds like one of those slow walks home where you just don't feel right. You know, I love that the song is honest. And I know that sounds a little depressing, but the fact is that there are some moments where things like that, knowing that somebody feels the same way that you do at times, that can be all that you need to hear. Each one of these 10 hiding songs I can take refuge in, because they represent sounds and sentiments that align with how I'm feeling at the time. And I can hide in these songs because the artists just get it. Do you know how amazing and important and relieving it is when you finally encounter somebody who gets you? I'll leave it there.